Happy Wednesday and happy day before Thanksgiving for the Americans. I know it's a busy day, so we probably have to do this again in a few weeks so we can talk to the people we miss. But happy to see y'all here. And excited to hear Corgel answer some questions that we have from some of our corgis. I saw some good ones. And my question would be for you. Who's better at karaoke, you or Enchroma? Since I didn't get a video from your hangout the other day.
To be honest, I think neither of us. I
I
I don't
mean,
think we are good we are very passionate singers, I would say, especially after glass of wine or five. But I don't think either of us is a good singer, to be honest.
I don't know if I believe
Um,
you, but I'll
well,
take your word for it.
you have to come around. Also, I was just talking, but I didn't hear anyone. Now I just switched the headphones again. Sorry, I just have microphone separately and headphones separately, so I just thought nobody was talking.
Did you get a new mic?
Yeah, I have a mic, and Croman just recommended me some, so hopefully it's loud and clear.
It sounds great.
It should be way better. Uh, okay, no worries, guys. Let's just go through some stuff. So I see there's a bunch of questions out there, so we'll go through them a little bit later. I think that the most common thing everyone's just asking is about the market outlook and about some more of like emotions and trading strategies and so on. So I hope everyone was enjoying the Corgi Atlas. Pranay and Chroma did tremendous work on that, just combining all of my so-called golden thoughts and summaries and everything what we went through over the last year or so. So I think that should be very helpful whenever we have some questions. I would say like 95% of the things are really covered up there and pinned on Corgi updates or crypto channel and so on. So that should be helpful. But overall, firstly, just starting with the market chart, I think that as long as we're holding above the 30k, we just established new range. Like previously, we were chopping between that 20k to 30k range, and you have a perfect mid range at 25k. I think now it's very similar that we established that range between 30 to 40,000, and that 35,000 it's a mid range. And if we get the pullbacks, the pullback shouldn't be deeper than 30 to 34,000. I think even 30 would be big pullback. Being 32 to 34 thousand on Bitcoin should be very reasonable to start, dollar cost average again into long-term things if you missed out early on. And of course, as in any pullback, it's possible that we'll see the wicks to like 28 or 29k. But I think bullish trend is intact as long as we're holding above 30k. And overall, I looking at the market participants, it looked like everyone who's been sidelined and didn't participate, last year, now they're trying to chase it, and it's as negative for the sideliners, so to called, as dump would be for bulls. And I think bulls got absolutely obliterated for the past 2.5 years. That now they took control, and there's so many positive narratives with pretty much all the possible potential FUD out of the way that I can't really see what can cause us getting back to 25 or 20k, for example. Obviously it's crypto, everything is possible. I don't know, something crazy might happen, so we have to be prepared for that and not just based on the day to day or weekly outcomes, news, and what's happening. But at the moment, I'm pretty bullish, and I think we started the bull trend a few weeks ago, and we've been fortunate to rotate very quickly from aiming that 30k is 32k is the top, and then we're gonna have some larger pullbacks, and at 27,000 we fully rotated into like, hey, as long as we break above 30, we should have a very nice rally, and we continue to do so, catching up some coins like FED, ENJ, Solana, and so on. But that's really irrelevant because the most of the things, we were calling from February, the whole point of that was to accumulate through 2023. And I think that's one of the most common um, issues and mistakes people do during the bear market and early on in bull market, that they are hoping for that magical trade, like the next pep or something, or they just going to buy and make you know from that the fortune and walk away. And it's very small chance that you'll do something like that and you're gonna catch it. And if someone did it, they usually insiders or someone got very lucky. And if you track, there was some article that a majority of the Pepe millionaires got back very quickly to low six figures, because of they were trying to beat every next dip, every next coin, hoping for the next Pepe, and greed just overtook. So realistically, the real winners were those guys who held it, sold out, and vanished, so to speak, or invested in something long term rather than people who just held or tried to catch every dip. Because it was just a very short narrative. And one of the reasons, because I've been in a tons of various groups and trading groups and so on, and I'm still trying to learn pretty much every single day, watching streams and the on the YouTube, on the Twitter and so on. I think that's one of the easiest way to approach crypto right now, even at the current stage in the next couple of months, is really focus on the long-term perspective, because so many people just want to actively trade. And active trading is a very painful, very stressful grind. You have to pay attention to your net leverage, to positions, to news, to calls, updates, and everything what's going on. And I just thought over few years of trading, it's just very hard to replicate it. So my previous career, some of you guys know that I worked in sales and recruitment. So in sales, everything was about the numbers. Some of you guys probably heard about the law of averages. So if you repeat a certain action through the extended period of time, the pattern will emerge in to simplify it. So, for example, you're training a salesman that we are testing a product. Let's say selling a broadband, and if you, let's say, speak with 100 people throughout the day, statistically speaking, after test, it came out that on average, 3 people say yes to switch the broadband provider. And that was regardless that we were in, Scotland, North England, we are in Southampton, we are in Ireland, Wales, and so on. The results were pretty much identical. I mean, we're talking about 2.6 average, 3.2 average, 2.8. On average, came up to about 3, if based on the amount of people spoken to. And it's a very similar with a trading, that once you find that pattern and you take X amount of trades and X amount of profits for the extended period of time, and you have you set the risk management, you set the certain rules in place, and you follow them religiously, the pattern will emerge and you'll start compounding those profits over time. Now, the problem with that is very hard to replicate and teach people, leverage trading and active day-to-day trading, because most of the people do have jobs and families and hobbies and, pets to take care of and kids and so on and so on. And I've noticed a lot of people are just missing out on things based on a time zone. So that was my idea a year ago, to start on focusing on things on a long-term basis. Because if you look at the charts from, let's say, Cardano, Matic, Doge, Ethereum, Solana from 2017, 18, 19, 20, and you look at those charts and what happened on a bull market during a bull market, you'll see that the coins which didn't have that cycle yet, like let's say 0xO, AMO, Ator, whichever we, let's say, focus on the group one, or B-Bank, Pair, Dubs, they will have at least some of them, very, very similar cycle. And I'm not saying all of them. I mean, we have, for example, now 10 coins in group one. And I'm honestly considering, for example, removing Unibot from group one and moving that to group two with a way smaller position. or just removing that completely, for example. But other coins, I think so far looking pretty good. We'll see what Ather's gonna come up with after all of that FUD. But to be honest, if they hold on that support here above the 60 cents, I think Ather can, surprise many. And I wouldn't say that's gonna be vertical, come back to $2, but I think over extended period of time they can come back to all-time highs and way higher as well. But that depends on our Ather's team and how they're gonna process that. But coming back to the topic, I think that the easiest way to make money in a bull market is accumulate things very low through 3 months, 6 months, 8 months period, and just hold them until there's a time to sell. When it's a peak euphoria, when we see Ethereum, let's say at 4,000 or 5,000, let's say Bitcoin is at 50, 60,000. That could be your first real take profit areas. I don't know if it's going to be in March, in April, or September next year, but I think sooner or later we are going to see that. And those are areas where you can take very significant profit. And as you can imagine, you've seen recently some of the coins running from end of September, uh, going 3, 4, even 1,000%, like PAL from the entry in end of September. I'm not even mentioning our fast entry, went absolutely crazy. Or 0KN from September, it's over 1,000%, I think, from the entries. We caught a little bit later on the official calls, but like from pre-sale, if someone's holding, it peaked at 42x, so 4,300%, which is insane from our pre-sale entry. So imagine, I don't know who held it. I held only 10%, to be honest, so not much. But if you've held from our pre-sale, I mean, it's insane profit, and it's still only at 16 million market cap. So imagine how many leverage trades or swing trades or daily trades you will have to do to have 4,200% profit. I mean, it's a lot. So realistically, I still think we are in that time for the next, I would say, let's say 2 or 3 months. And you still can catch a lot of things at the very discounted prices, because even, after the recent rallies, there's still a way more upside. Ethereum is still only like 2070 right now. Bitcoin is still only on like 37,000. So you have a still significant upside in a bull market. And obviously we don't know if we're gonna dip to, 30K or 28K or 35, or what's gonna be a, bottom. Maybe we already had a peak of 2023 and we're not gonna go past 38K, but I don't think so yet, at least not for now. We'll see if we're gonna push to 40K. So my plan right now is the same as it was. Anything between 37 to 40, 41,000K Bitcoin, you take in some profits, you're shaving off, moving that to the stable coins. You have to remember, when you're selling things on an on-chain, you're selling them in a dollar value, but you receive ETH. I know some of you guys were asking if it's a good time to buy ETH to invest into on-chain. It doesn't really matter, because your on-chain coin is valued not in ETH, but in dollars. So obviously the valuation of Ethereum is going to fluctuate based on the Ethereum price, but as you see, the price is showing in a dollar value. So regardless if you buy Ethereum at 1,800 or 1,400 or 2,500, you're still gonna buy, when you're buying on-chain, you're buying that in a dollar value. But you do have to remember, and a lot of people forget that when you're selling, Ethereum is not a stable coin. Right now it looks pretty bullish, so it's not a bad hold. Put some stop loss in place, move it to your exchange, and for example, let's say you take profit on some coin, move it to the BitGet or whatever exchange, and you put the stop loss at, let's say, 1,990, and you can hold it with the downside potential of 2 to 3% and upside potential of 10 to 20% for, let's say, short term. That's how you can play it. Or you can just flip it anytime you're selling something into stable coins and just hold the stable coins either in your exchange, or ideally just have a separate wallet where you have it offline on a browser like Brave or Chrome. You have a completely offline browser with a new profile, and that's where you have a cold wallets which are never connected to any page ever. So I think someone was asking about the security. Probably, obviously, the easiest way is to have like a Trezor or I forgot Ledger. But also important thing is to have a separate browser where you never ever ever connect that browser and that MetaMask or Phantom or whatever you're using to any page ever. So the only way for you to sell the coin from, let's say, your cold browser is to send that coin to your hot wallet, to your hot browser, and that's where you connect to Uniswap or Unibot and so on, so on. If that makes sense. I mean, the amount of people who lost insane amount of money just because they connected to some random page is ridiculous. And I don't want to say names, but recently one of the friends who is a part of the Corgi calls connected to one of the phishing pages on OCD. There's plenty of those phishing telegrams pretending that they have 12,000 members, but the online is only 50. Or on a Twitter that there's like revenue share coming, and everyone's waiting for revenue share for OCD. So he just clicked that because he thought it's official, but it was on-chain dynamics with some like hash or something like that. And he just approved the transaction, never did it before, didn't think much, was like late after his shift, he was super tired. And he lost 26,000 worth of TXN and OCD, just like that. So I think it's very important to remember about the security and really focus, if you have time, next couple of weeks, to reorganize your browsers, to make sure that you're moving your long-term holds to separate offline wallets. So have a separate MetaMask. Good idea might be to have multiple MetaMasks. So even if one is, let's say, accidentally something happens, compromised, hopefully not, you still have others, and don't hold everything in one place. I would never put all the eggs in one basket, so it's good to have it on, have a even offline laptop if you have some spare one, which is never connected to anything, and offline browser too. So I guess that's some of the tips that came to mind, and I can go through the questions unless someone has something specific based on to what I was just talking about. You can raise hand or you can just write in questions if you have anything specific to what I was just talking about. No, don't see it. Someone's writing in a question. Okay, so let's go through the questions. First one is KGG3N. Well, that is a lot of questions. You wrote an essay, so I'll try to make it as short as possible. So I've read it already that if you guys open on the questions and the first one is about profit taking, weekly profits, and stable coins in portfolio. So I covered that a little already. But I think everything really depends on the coin you're holding, on where did you buy it and where you're aiming to sell it. So for example, with Ator, if I bought Ator at 20, 30 cents, and we had that 3-4x run, I took profits already, like let's say some profits at 3-4x, which was around like 90 cents, I think, something along those lines. And then there was another, rally to the $2, and that made it, I don't know, 5, 6, well, probably like 7x, I think, 7 or 8x. I'm not gonna check on chart specifically right now. So that took another profit on Ator. So at that point, if something does even 3-4x, means you should be risk-free and in profit. So you have to count it that like the amount you sell, you should be risk-free and at least a little bit in profit, or ideally some. And then on another move, 6-8x, you do the same thing and then just rest hold for the bull market. Or you can add to that coin if it dips significantly. So there were some coins that had a big rally up. You took some profits and it dipped 50 or 60%. You can buy back with let's say part of the stable coins if you want to, and have dollar cost average your position again, and it rally again. That's the reason we have a re-entries, that A, for person who missed out, or B, for someone who wants to just add to the position, um, especially if you caught some huge moves. Let's say 0k and originally did like this move to 6 million from 500k market cap, and then retrace to 2 million. So then you can, dollar cost average around 2-3 million, and now it's at 16 million. That's, if someone want to actively trade. But the easiest is usually take the profits on 3-4x, 6-8x area, and then hold the rest for the bull market for the real, like a huge take profits. I don't have a recommend amount, and I wouldn't really suggest if it's 10% or 20%. Everyone have a different size. Everyone have a different risk management. So you have to really adjust it to where you're at. I think one of the common mistakes is everyone is just trying to catch every coin, if that makes sense. Like, you have to really, I wrote about it before, but you have to really think about the size you have and how many coins you can effectively hold to have the significant profits. So for example, if I have $1,000, I wouldn't probably hold more than 2-3 coins maximum, if that's my long-term deployment. And if I was starting to build my portfolio right now and I have a full-time Web2 job and so on, I will put, instead of, before the bull market, instead of, for example, into savings account, which have probably 3% yearly return, I mean, you can put probably, just put a finger on any of the altcoin long-term randomly. You buy one of those on a next tip, and you'll have a way bigger return yearly than 3% from your savings account. I know it sounds maybe a bit bad, but like realistically, wherever you buy on the next tip, let's say Solana, ENJ, Fed, Ocean, or whichever we choose, Peer, Illuvium, and so on, I've highly doubt that you're gonna have a lower return than 3% over, let's say, next 6 to 12 months, if that makes sense. So if I would be starting, I would probably have the certain allocation, regardless it's your $1,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, something what you don't need on a daily basis that wouldn't hurt you looking at it, fluctuating and so on. Because I think one of the common things as well is people overinvest and they stressing out about it. I don't think it's a good idea if you, let's say, have a spare 5,000, but you know that you need that for rent or you need for something else. I would not invest that, because you're just gonna be very emotional trader, and I think that's one of the common things people do, that they overinvest, put too much money, and they stressing about it because you need that money for something else. Also, how to say that? It's sorry, I just lost my plot a little. Also, I think that if you compound, I mean, if you dollar cost average over extended period of time, and if you're buying smaller amounts, let's say we started buying on-chain in February, and I presume most of you guys didn't join that early, but let's say you join June or July, excluding obviously the newest people, you had 2, 3, 4, 5 months to even deploy smaller capital over 3, 4, 5 months. And regardless if you bought something on a peak or bottom, in the middle, and so on, you should have a pretty good average entry at this point. So I think with a profit taking, that's not exact advice, but I think that should be, I mean, more than enough, I guess. But we can cover that in a second. Weekly profits. If you have budget of 100k, I mean, it's very depending on person, but like compounding your wins, it's such a powerful tool, because let's say you're making only in a brackets $100 a day, which is not a lot in crypto. I mean, you can have $1,000 portfolio and make a 10% on a trade, which we have pretty much all the time. Something is going at least 10%. That's $100. So you can just take that profit and move on with your day and accumulate those $100 over 7 days, that's $700. Times 4, that's 2,800. I mean, that's pretty significant profit. And I think one of the things that on the active trading people missing out, they're trying to swing trade everything, which means you think that 10% can become 12 and 15 and 20. And when it pulls back, you just selling for a similar entry or less. So if you want to trade daily, not your long term, but that daily portfolio, which is set for the short to mid term trades, which should be not more than 5 to 10% of your overall portfolio, I think you should set yourself the targets that you have a weekly or a daily. And once you reach that target, you take out your initials, and if you trade for the rest of the day, you're just using your profit, so you don't risk your main capital. So I think that's compounding, and actually taking profits is one of the biggest things people missing out, because we're just looking for that big win. But if you just open 2x leverage trade literally and something goes 5% up, that's the 10% trade, and you take that out and you're $100 in profit, and you repeat that daily, even if it's $50 daily profit times 7, that's 350. I mean, that's $1,400 a month. For a lot of people, that could be a huge boost to the salary just from $50. But most of the people make one day $50, other day 100, and the next day they will lose 250 because they got cocky and they play with the larger amount, they increase the leverage and so on, just because the things got better. If that makes sense. So that's something to think about. And I don't have I know the specific question if it's 2% risk or 3% risk. That's the reason I'm using spot. Because even if you don't use the large size, even if you, let's say, play with $500, but you use spot, on the spot trades, your risk, I'm usually trying to do it between 5 to 8%. So from that $500, your risk will be 25 to, let's say, $35. That's your risk, the 5 to 8%, and your upside is, let's say, 10%. So like a casual 2-hour trade. So risking $25 to get 50, it's decent R&R on trading, and you don't really need leverage. And if you're using small size, you can use leverage 2x, 3x, but you just have to bear in mind that obviously risk is higher. That's the reason I prefer to play with size and buy something 5 figures worth of coin, but on the spot, so I can sleep well and don't need to look at the chart all the time, if that makes sense. Stable coins. 30% of portfolio is stable coins. Yeah, because I'm consistently taking profits. So if something like, even let's say Solana, so I think some of you ask about the two. That's why I have two different bugs. So if I bought Solana, I remember we call it at like $20 to $23, which still not the perfect entry, but I think that was pretty good one. I bought decent size and put the majority of that size in my altcoins long-term buck, which I'm not planning to touch anytime soon, unless we lose 30K on Bitcoin. And the other part I used for the swing trade. I didn't really sell on top. I think we sold on like a 50 something dollars, but it still was a good 150 or 160% trade. So that money, when I sold fully out on Solana and ENJ, not the long term, but on a swing trade we did in my crypto chat, that money I just put in a stable coins and waiting for the next opportunity. And I think that's been very helpful to stay level-headed and like more emotionless, because I'm not consistently invested, and I'm always prepared to buy dips. I'm always prepared for the next opportunity if it occurs. Not it could be the new coin, it could be some huge dip, let's say on Ator, and they had like huge news coming up that new chain's gonna be ready in 3 weeks. If that's coming up, Ator's gonna boost to $2 within a couple of days, for example. So I want to be ready for that opportunities. That's the reason I always want to have 30% in stables. And also, I just feel more comfortable. So always on the when I'm taking the profits from on chain or from the swing trades, I'm always moving them to the I have like a cold wallet with the stable coins and keeping some in USDC, some in USDT in couple wallets, and that's always, I feel better whenever I need something, even if it's to withdraw to the bank or to buy something else. I know that that 30% is there, and as my portfolio increases, the 30% increases as well. That makes sense. It's like my safety net, or however you call it. And it's been pretty helpful because when the larger expense occur in your personal life, or there's opportunity to buy something and so on, I know that I have opportunity to deploy that capital rather than trying to sell something. I think one of the common things is people sell something in order to buy something else. They like chasing it, and I think everyone can relate to that. And I just, after previous bull market, I just didn't want to have that issues. So yeah, I hope that's the answer to the question. Will there be party in Mexico, mega location? I mean, hopefully we can do a party in 24, not 25, but we'll see about that. We can choose the country if there will be party marathon for Corgi calls. I'm sure we can vote on that in, let's say, 4 or 6 months. We'll see how the situation with the market is. Because if it's full-blown market, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who will be happy to travel to 1 or 2 locations and we can meet up. I think we had the Dutch community already meeting up a couple months ago, and they really enjoyed that. Will we have another fitness challenge? Well, sure. Yeah, I'm sure Enkoma and Ali can come up with something cool. I think they were already planning on it, so and that should be good. Could you go a bit more detailed into your current midterm to long-term macro outlook? I think I covered that already. I personally, on top of that, I think that around 40K should be a local top and 30K will be, sorry, a local bottom. I think that once the Bitcoin ETF is approved, Ethereum and altcoins will have the time, and then we'll see aggressive pullbacks afterwards. I think because of there's just not as many participants as we had post-COVID, but because institutions coming over, it's gonna be very different trading. When institutions coming, VCs and large wallets are trading, there's a lot of trading, AI trading, which is obviously not human. So all the targets and so on, they will be predetermined. We cannot really predict how market makers gonna play with that, but I wouldn't be really surprised if things look like, for example, 40K, 32K, 35K, 30K, 45K, 40K, and it's gonna be a lot of fluctuation. And as you can imagine, if Bitcoin or Ethereum does that, you'll have a larger pullbacks on the altcoins too. So you have two options. You're either very good in following narratives and trading on a daily basis, because you can do very good money, as we saw people who bought in, like, let's say late September, early October. I mean, just from my like the day-to-day trading, not from on-chain, my portfolio between September to now did like a 4x or 5x. Not even talking about on-chain, but that was mostly from the spot swing trades we were doing. So you can either learn that, or is the easier option that you just next couple of months invest in some long-term projects and just hold and take profits on any significant pumps. I mean, a good example, for example, is GameFi narrative, because we talk about PEER, I think from May, about PEER and Illuvium. I saw on Gem's update, I think I had 100 something mentions, 150 between those two coins alone. And most people just probably didn't buy and didn't accumulate when we're talking under $40-50 on Illuvium, and under 3.2 $3 on PEER. And you saw them going crazy within such a short period of time. I mean, PEER went from like 2.7 to like $7.2. So you don't even really need this next 10x gem on chain. You can make a significant income on the altcoins. And if we get a full-blown more bull market, I mean, coins like Peer can easily go to the $20+, or Illuvium can be, 250, 400+. I wouldn't say that they can go to the same highs they had during a previous bull market, but I'm pretty sure they could have at least, halfway through to those targets. Same like Solana. I mean, I can't see a reason why Solana wouldn't be at least $150, but probably gonna go higher. But better to be positively surprised than expect too much, if that makes sense. So it's better to have a little bit realistic target and then be positively surprised. What would be recommended as the most efficient way to use your time? Yeah, again, I mean, if you have a family, work full time, kids, hobbies, and so on, the best thing I would say is to have a time that, like, I wouldn't say hobby, but like a trading could be like a part-time job or your part-time investments. And if you don't really have a time to follow everything, I'll just follow Gem's long-term or altcoins long-term channel and wait for the next entries, or track our updates in the Corgi updates on like a next larger putback on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm sure I'm gonna ping everyone multiple times. I'm posting all the time, and then you just buy the things on the next significant dip and ignore. I think we spoke about it in the summer, and I said that 99% people would be better off by buying things long term and logging off for the next 6 to 12 months. And it's true, you can ask whoever you want how many people just exit things because they were boring after 2 months, because they didn't have a significant pump because of the fat and whatever. And then everyone was suddenly in October or November, it's like, when are we gonna get next entries? And it just shows me that that's what was happening. And it's obviously hard to find a conviction and to deploy capital and just hope. But I also buy most of those coins myself, and the reason why I decided to play with this long-term spot way of trading on on-chain is just think that if I was new and I will be starting to trade, to try to build my portfolio, try to make my first 6 figures and so on, I would it would be significantly easier for me if someone gave me that advice early on, and I'll be probably in way better situation, way less stressful, during the after bull market. Not like I was in a bad one. I was, pretty fortunate, took the nice profits, but nobody really gave me that advice. And I was really trying to learn leverage and try to I made a lot of mistakes and so on. And there was no really group where they will be focusing really on chain or spot trading. It was everyone is just leverage, or NFTs, which is just, leverage on Ethereum pretty much. My question is, I'm about to sell 50% of liquidity after pixels. Well, if you have the capital right now and you're looking to deploy, you have two options. You can either look for the coins that I recently updated in Gems updates and they are on the entries, or you can just be patient, wait next 2-3 weeks for the next hopefully pullback, which I still think before the end of the year we should get one, or very early in Q1, and then you deploy your capital. I think a lot of people just didn't buy when there was opportunity, and you guys saw things doing 3, 4, 5, 600% in such a short period of time, and you can see in a profit bragging some of the guys like Fees, Ramps, Rensanity and so on, they've made 6 figures, not really from active trading. They made 6 figures plus from, some of them even under or low 5 figures, just from buying gems and holding. And I think you can do that again on the next dip. If we, let's say, get the retrace to 30, 32, 34K, shop around there, people panic, there will be some FUD. There will be chance to, so to speak, buy the blood. And if you do that and deploy your capital and just, log off, stop chasing screens, don't look at the 4-hour charts or even daily charts, just ignore it for 2, 3, 4 months unless we're gonna ping you that it's panic time and we're selling. you're gonna be in significantly better situation in March or April. Because those things can go vertical very, very quickly. I mean, let's say we get a dip to on ENJ to, I don't know, $12, $13, or maybe even below 10. That would be ideal, but I don't know if we're gonna get that low. Or Solana back to 40s. 40s, maybe even like, high 30s. I'll look at the charts later on. So when we get those dips, I'll be monitoring them actively and posting. And imagine you get that Solana for, let's say, $35 on the next significant dip, and you can just ignore it until it gets to 90, 120, 150, 200. And it's obviously very liquid coin, so you can be less stressed than on chain. It's easy to set the stop loss and so on. Although on my long-term bucks, I'm not really putting stop loss, so I'm moving them after a while if we have a significant pump, just in case if something happens. But I'll probably wait if you didn't deploy capital recently and wait for the next opportunity. Don't try to chase the green candles. Budget. Yes, I think the Yardak, I think I just answered your question. It's pretty much similar to Orca. So I wouldn't really, if you in loss or like, I don't know, you actually didn't say in loss, but you're not in like a huge profits, I'll just wait for the next opportunity to deploy, or just simply wait. I mean, some of those things, like let's say we have a 0xO still at like 11 or 12 cents. I mean, imagine trades at $1 in 8 months time. Or we have ammo, still pretty cheap. So imagine that's gonna do 5, 6, 800% in the next 4 or 6 months. So sometimes you have to swallow to like be underwater. You're not always going to be in profit. Being underwater, being a negative is a common thing in trading and common thing in dollar cost average. If you ever really dollar cost average and accumulate bugs over extended period of time, you had to be at some point in negative. It's impossible to be always in positive unless you're lucky and you just caught the local bottom. So I think it's if you have a conviction and market aligns in a positive way and we hold the trend above 30k, I would just hold. And if you have a capital, you can dollar cost average to improve your entries. But I wouldn't just chase green candles again. I'll just wait for the next opportunity or just be patient, especially if you don't have a time to actively trade. A lot transpired today on the news about Binance and security deep diminished. No, I don't think so. I think those news were more of a fad. I think that was one of the biggest, like a negative hanging above us for the last 6-8 months about Doge and the prosecution and so on. And I think Chu and Binance dealt with that like goats. And he can come back to being head of the company as a founder in 3 years. He's still majority of holder. He's a free man, and I don't know it's how much of the crazy stuff they did, or was that more of a government trying to show the kind of a big dick play. I'm not gonna argue about that, but I think that's the positive that was resolved, and it's just another huge fat hanging above us just disappeared, and I think that's another confirmation for the SEC approval coming over. So I don't think that changed anything at this point. But again, I'm adjusting things on a weekly basis. I'm trying to be as flexible and fluid as it possible. So if anything changes, I'll be updating. For spot trades, I notice almost no recommendation for trailing stops in crypto, but rather manually moving the stop loss above OCO. Yeah, you can have a trailing stop. I just never used that because I've noticed with the trailing stops, I don't know how was your guys' experience, but I did that for a while before. And because especially in low liquidity environment when it's not that many market participants, you can get wicked out very easily. So you get that pump, let's say 80% and something retrace 4, and because your trailing stop, moved up as we push to 8%, you get stopped up, and then we push another 10-20%. So if we look, just to answer your question, KGG, is if we look on the Solana swing trade from September, or ENJ, when we caught it on 7:30, I think was entry on ENJ, and 22 to 24 on Solana. There was a plenty of weeks down, which were like 5 to 8% weeks, which you will get stopped out before a peak just because of a trailing stop. Obviously, you can adjust the trailing stop to be higher up, but I'm online enough to just move that manually myself. But if someone knows how to set up trading stops, feel free to do so. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I wouldn't just put them um, on a crazy margin that, like, let's say you moves 2%, not follow up 4% the trade. But we can discuss that privately too. I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think everyone's using trailing stops. What are your plans for a post bull run? How do you deal with the profits that you made? Well, it's a long conversation, but I'm looking to invest in a bunch of things. I'm looking to open up the businesses. I spoke with some friends, and I'm researching currently in other opportunities outside of crypto. I personally think, looking from the market macro perspective, that at some point between 2026 to 2030, we expecting another, extended bear market. I think the housing market will eventually crash. I don't know if that's your guys' experience, but I have a friends in America, in Canada, in Poland, and I'm an engineer by trade, but I have friends who are. My best friend is a doctor and surgeon. Other best friend is highly trained IT specialist, work in security with some of the large companies, and they have a very pretty significant income for working for corporations. And even for those guys with being 30 years old and having very significant income, they still I wouldn't say struggle, but like buying a property right now is a stretch. Taking a mortgage is a stretch. And I just can't imagine that for an average John, so to speak, there will be it's sustainable to have that kind of high kind of market. I mean, we're saying that in America inflation is now what 3 something%, but the real inflation is like 17-18%. Looking at the prices of the petrol, food, and so on, probably even higher. And that goes the same for Germany, France, Poland, all the countries we're living in, Netherlands probably the same, and so on. So I think at some point now, it's I don't want to get into too much in politics, but I think next year is election year, and it will be nice opportunity to kind of cover up that inflation, print more money, maybe 25 throughout the 25 too. Hopefully, we should have a couple year cycle. But as usually after that, boom, between 26 to 2030, you should be prepared to for another bear market, and to have opportunity to move that profits into the different investments. And let's say housing market crash in 2027 or 28, I think there will be some incredible opportunities to buy the properties, not right now, but in 2 or 3 years. And I want to be prepared for that. I want to be prepared to open a business when everyone will panic. That's usually the best opportunities, when you can get extremely cheap rent. You can buy, or lease. Most of the people will be scared. They wouldn't have money to open up the business and invest in something. And if you have that capital, I think the patience is the key area to invest. And also, there's a lot of things, the upcoming companies and technologies, like AI, which you can invest in startups and in stocks too. So that's another thing I'll be researching. I already started, but I think the crypto for the next year to 2 years, it is still one of the best, let's say, investment and way of making money, especially we all in that. And then it will be chance to rotate capital into something else when things get a little bit more boring, waiting for the next cycle. What's your number one tip in taking control of your emotions? I admire how you methodical you are. Oh, to answer that, I think it came mostly from sales. I'm a creature of habits, if that makes sense. I work in sales for a good 7 years in recruitment, and everything was just a numbers game. Numbers make sense to me. My mentor loved to say that math doesn't lie, people do. And if you try to take yourself out of equation and everything and just try to look at your investments, your trading, your works in a personal life too, and try to put yourself in a outside of the that situation perspective, and just think what would you do if you were not invested in that project. What will be a reasonable thing to do? It's usually a good way to start. Other thing is just always having that safety net with the enough stable coins on the side. Other thing is helpful is spot trading and on chain. You just focus on things you have a conviction for long term. So less leverage, more on chain, more spot. It's just way easier to take control of emotions. There's a lot of books. You can meditate. You can do a lot of sports. It's very depending on a person. But I think the most important is to have a predetermined plan and risk management in place. And this plan will have to have an invalidation. So, for example, I'm bullish as long as Bitcoin holds above 30K. And if I see we're losing trend, something is happening and so on, I'll fluctuate and be fluid enough to exit investments and look for the another opportunity to buy lower. So that every plan will have to have a sort of exit strategy, and I'm sticking to it. And every plan has to have the also taking profit strategy, and I'm sticking to it. Because it's easy to sell something when things are getting red and you get too emotional and stressed and so on. But if you set yourself the target and you set yourself the dollar cost average you're buying, you just stick to it unless the plan change or team do something what you're not expecting. That's the reason I'm adjusting portfolio consistently. If I don't like what I'm seeing, I will just rotate capital to the next thing, because I'm looking on everything from a bigger picture. I'm not marrying a box. Other thing I also learned is don't be attached to the dead wood. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes people did during NFT saga. And I'm not saying that I exited in a perfect time, but I've sold most of the. If you guys heard my story on the previous AMA, I've sold most of the things in like a February. There was 22. No, sorry, 22. This is a previous ball, February 2022. And then the remaining, I think that was like a late March when I saw things, sliding down and less communication, and founders started coming up with excuses and so on. And I just went traveling. And then came back, in June, late June, and I saw so many of my friends who were, showing off six-figure portfolios from, nothing. And then, the portfolios were down to 5 figures, low 5 figures or less, just because they were marrying that, idea that something will consistently go up. It's have to go higher. Ideas, game changing and so on. And I think that's one of the biggest things that, like, let's say I'm super bullish on, for example, ENJ, Solana, 0xO, but I had the targets I'm aiming for based on Bitcoin, Ethereum price, and that particular coin price. And regardless how much I love that coin, I'm taking profits. For example, with Rollbit, if you guys remember, some of you guys been from early this year, we had so much fun on Rollbit between February to June, and there was so much time to accumulate between 1.5 to 3 cents. And I've set the first target that it's gonna be I think 20 cents plus, and we took profits then, and there was perfect TP, because then we dip way lower. And then next I put the box recently, I think a couple weeks ago, that 25 to 30 cents it's the next take profit, and we rallied again from whatever there was 10-11 cents to the 25, and 25 was again peak, and I sold some. And I think Rollbit still have a potential to go to $1+, but upside potential of the coin, which is 600-700 million market cap, comparing to, let's say, coin like OCD, which is 3.2 million market cap, it's crazy, because you just need 10x on OCD, and that's 32 million market cap, and it's still very small. Looking at the bull market, and to have a 10x on Rollbit, we're talking about 6 billion market cap, which is insane, right? So that's the reason I'm from those big plays we already made. I've rotated some from Rollbit to other coins, because I think they have a significantly higher upside potential. Although I'm still holding Rollbit, if that makes sense. I think it's a lot to talk about emotions, but hopefully that was a helpful answer. How to manage your stable coins? I think we covered that twice already. What is the best place to stake your crypto and earn crypto back? We've shared that in Gems Long Term, and I just spoke with Enchroma that we'll do it's in the Gems Long Term. I just pinned it a little bit lower, and we'll do the channel for the staking rewards and so on, because you can do that on bunch of coins from Ator, SDEX, PAL, and so on. And if you lock your coins in the stake, you can get a pretty nice APR on them. So if you're expecting that the coin will go higher, plus you're getting additional APR, I mean, why would you let your coins just sit there and do nothing? You don't need to put all of your coins. Someone just asked for the safety of the staking platforms. They usually audit it. I mean, I wouldn't put their money in a platforms which are not audited. So you have to look at that. But all of those examples we gave, they are audited, verified, and so on, and they, pretty safe. But if you don't want to play around that, just keep them in a cold wallet and don't touch it. I mean, you don't need to really earn a crypto back if something does 1000%. You realistically don't need those 30-40% extras, but they wouldn't hurt you either if you want to. What is better way? Bigger diversification or focus on less coins? Or everything, or focus on 50% coins from the list? I don't really understand that question. I'm sorry, I'm not really sure what you mean PRX, so if you can write it down again. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. What percentage balance of NFTs and coins in your long-term portfolio do you recommend? I hold only Kenpai Pandas at the moment, and aiming to grab some imaginary ones and Pudgy Penguins. To be honest, I have to admit that I thought we're gonna have a dip a little bit lower, so I missed out on some entries. But I think once NFT market picks up, will be opportunity to, on the next dip, to load up on some extra ETH and just buy them and hold. Because realistically, if we get the full-blown bull market, I mean, Pudgy Penguins should be 15 to 20 Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to be significantly higher too, just for example. So to answer your question, I'm just focusing mostly on on-chain and spot because I think they're more controllable. If that makes sense, I just feel more comfortable with that. But some people prefer NFTs and NFT communities and so on. So NFTs would be just a smallest fraction of my portfolio, and it's some sort of like a leverage for my Ethereum exposure. Because if I believe that certain project will go up in price, Ethereum will also go up in price, and that way you can kind of double or triple, quadruple your profits. So I think that's a very good way to leverage your Ethereum exposure. But again, it's not a huge part of my portfolio. NFTs are probably like 5-6%. How do you feel about staking? I think, I'll just answer to that. FOMO is my biggest problem. How do you discipline yourself so well? Will we see another bull market like before? I missed the first bull and been waiting patiently. I wouldn't say that will be the same, but I think we can have a very, very good cycle. And if things align well with the ETFs and institutions coming over, I think it could be even bigger, but I would expect there will be very aggressive upside, but also very aggressive downside. So you have to be very careful in, as you said, in FOMO, and you have to actively be taking profits. I'm planning currently to start taking significant profits, probably from like late Q1, early Q2. around the halving time, because if things gonna continue go higher, I think that'll be great, first opportunity to take out some profits, especially everyone expecting that the halving narrative will play out. If it does, it's great. But around, let's say, 50k Bitcoin on 2.7 2.8 thousand Ethereum, that I think it's a very good opportunity to take some significant profits. But I don't want to just shoot the numbers, because a lot of things happen. Crypto is so volatile, and news can happen and so on. So as you see, I'm online pretty much all the time. I'll only have a time around 30th of November of flying to Lisbon. And because my girlfriend is in America for actually 6 days to a trip with her mom, I will be flying alone with two pets. So between like afternoon 30th of November to probably late 1st of December, I won't be much online, because I'll be flying with two pets and the all part of luggage and moving to the new place. It's gonna be pretty crazy for me. But other than that, whenever I'm online for at least 12 hours a day, and I have notifications on my phone too. So as you see, if something happens, I'll probably know about it, and I'll keep an eye on it. And if not, you have a guys like Pranay and Chroma keeping eye on the market, and they'll update you on anything if I'm not around. So don't worry. Next question is not the question; it's picture of Ali. Will the AMA be uploaded later on so we can listen? I believe it's recorded at the moment. I think so. Yeah, and Chroma said yes. A quick recording. What happened to Flower Farm? I don't know. Probably they racked. I have no idea. I don't know. It's funny that they let me go in, I think, in November. They fired me from Flower Farm, being alpha color. It was interesting time. Okay, sorry, I'm just following up next questions. Yardak, I'm not in loss. I'm like 2x on my portfolio, but I struggle a heavy is that I have basically no stables. Everything is invested in terms of my gems budget. Well, that's great. So I wouldn't really sell and wait for the next. No, I wouldn't do that. If you invested and you 2x in profit, why would you sell now? So if you get the next 3-4x on a coin, sure, take profit, and you can rotate some of the stable coins. But that's the situation I talked about before, that if I was starting right now and I wouldn't have the capital to deploy and I'm already invested in things from earlier and I'm in profit, I will look to allocate part of my salary and so on into investing over time. I'm not saying the crazy amount, but let's say your salary is 3,000 euros, and you can spare 300 euros instead of go to cinema or play PlayStation. I think next year that $300 over 3 months could be $900, and that's not that $900 invested in a right project can give you $9,000 or $10,000, if that makes sense. So I want to treat every single money I have as it can be worth 10 times next year, if that makes sense. So that $1 I right now, I just don't want to spend on something I don't think I need, because I think it might be worth $10 by November 24. That's kind of the mentality I have. Do you believe there will be another crypto cycle where we see returns like the last 15 years in crypto? Well, yeah. I mean, we see that all the time. I mean, we have some coins. I mean, we literally just had a 0 KN. I think we bought in pre-sale in August, and it went from zero. I mean, from 500k market cap to 24 million. I think it was a peak. Yeah, 24 million. So that's August, September, October, November. That's in less than 4 months. I mean, that means that if you invested $1,000 in that, and let's say enjoy the pre-sale and sold at the top, I mean that's a lot of money. So yeah, I think the cycle will go crazy, especially now it's that on-chain narrative and people moving away from centralized exchanges. And a lot of those coins we're seeing right now performing well, like, you know, 0xO and Ator and Dubs and Hilo. I mean, we talked about them when they were like 5, 10, 15 million. Some of the guys got them extremely cheap. On the first calls, if you got them on in the summer or Q2, Q1, 23, some of the, you know, things we bought, they were worth peanuts. And they are already, you know, 6, 8, 10, 15x, like PAL, for example. PAL, which entered in July. I don't know how much PAL is up right now, but I took my initials. I'm in a huge profits, and I still have a crazy bag of PAL, and it's still printing. I mean, PAL is now at 105 million, and it peaked at I don't know how much it was exactly, probably 130 million. And we were buying PAL at, you know, I don't know how much it was, but it was very cheap. So I think from our entry to the peak between July to now, you know, there was very significant profit. I forgot I was posting that recently. I think it's around 35, 40x too. So yeah, there's plenty. I'm curious about TXN. What are your expectations at the moment? I'm quietly waiting on my hands for the coming months. When you will make your initial investment or you decide to later? To be honest, I didn't really even claim TXN. Even just looking alone on a 0K and how that marketing team approaches everything, I think they do have a plan and they executing that in a very very good way. And I think it's very similar. Like if we're looking at those coins because a lot of us just joined them in the same time, so everyone is in the same boat. But if you look on coins, let's say at PAL or 0x or Rollbit, things we joined way earlier in 23. And if you look at the charts in the first 2-3 months, you'll see that the price action was very similar. Because if you think from a coin perspective, you're looking for something, let's say, they know that the bull market, let's say, it's coming up. There's an opportunity for a more capital and so on. And you can't just roll over everything and have nothing to announce from the marketing perspective itself. So I think every project just trying to how to say that, digest announcements in is as many little announcements as it possible over extended period of time. So there's always something exciting to look forward to. I think I talked to you guys. I sent some voice notes in a crypto chat. It's called Charles Hodgkinson, Hodgkins, whoever the name of a Cardano founder, that they were promising smart contracts and, you know, so many things for years and years. And on that expectations alone and huge support from the community and bull market and liquidity inflow, it went into billions of market cap, and it's still in billions, even though it's pretty useless. And I don't know who's using Cardano. I don't. So it's kind of a similar thing. And I think a lot of the coins we're holding right now are still in this stage of the, you know, little pump, some sort of retrace, people planning exit. But if you look at the holder base, it's consistently increasing, which is a positive number, because it's kind of transfer from impatient to patient, and eventually when there's opportunity, things are, you know, blowing up. Like if you just open up 0KN chart, and I can blame myself for it as well, because I sold huge chunk at like 5-6 million, and we're taking profits because there was like a, you know, very quick 12x we did. I mean, very quick in like 2 months. And then I didn't enter all the, you know, that much at 2-3 million. We're just watching the, you know, chop. I just bought the little, and recently I was just looking at the chart and looking at the, you know, went through wallets that we're buying, and, you know, dropped the call to the team, to the developers I was speaking for previously, and they showed me, you know, what they're working on. And I went through all the informations provided, and I just thought, it's like, holy fuck, those guys, just like everything what they said in August, they actually executing on it it's just taking time. It's just not so simple to build something what will, sustain the thousands of the users, sustain the, the on-chain, the mixnet, and so on, so on. And now we see the results when, even from the most recent call, which was like 8 or 9 days ago, at 5 million, we just saw the rally to 25 million. Which is crazy. I mean, we're talking about 400-500% in a week on that coin alone, and I think still have a very significant potential. It's still only at 16 million right now, and if they really start competing with the likes of 0xO, Ator, even if as a beta play, it's going to reach half of the market cap or 25%. That's still way more upside. So same approach with TXN. I think they have a very big market, like a very big idea with so many things to develop, and I think it will take time, possibly even more time than 0K or LCD to deliver on it. But if they do deliver over time, and if they start showing those products over the next month, couple of months, and we see them working, people are testing that and so on, I think, eventually it's gonna do exactly the same thing and blow up. And realistically, TXN didn't even have a dip. Everyone is in profit since the launch. I mean, there was some tiny little dips here and there, but it's hard to be stressing out, let's say, about the coin, which is for pretty much everyone at least 2x at this stage, or more than that. And it's just not selling off. Means that people know that at some point, based on the on the team and the previous projects the marketing team launched, it still have a significant potential to the upside. I mean, it's 1.5 million market cap right now. I'm just not willing to sell anything at 1.5 million if I think that they have a higher upside, unless I stop believe in the team and something will happen, which I will update you guys on. I didn't even bother to claim, to be honest. Actually have to do that this week, so that'll be my answer. Anything else? Or we run out of questions? I don't know. I've been talking for hour 20 minutes. Pranay asked, in a wrong chat for some reason. The overlook on the gaming projects like Illuvium, Pair, and so on. I mean, mostly with the gaming projects is I want to look who is backing them, who is interested, who is posting about it, and I think that's the first thing I'm checking. I'm looking on the who is what accounts are supporting them, what team was doing, how the chart is looking like, how the game is looking like. Would they be able to attract the Web3 natives as well as really non-crypto natives as well? How complicated would that be? Is game looking good? Is it playable? And also on the chart, it's kind of you speculating on both, that the game itself will be good product and that will grow the user base. But how many of us, I don't know how many of you guys went through the previous cycle, but I don't give a flying fuck, sorry, for playing Axie Infinity. But I've made some very good trades on Axie coin, if that makes sense. So I want to look at the people who speculate, who back in it, who will be playing that, who will be using it, and so on. But I'm a trader, investor. I'm not I am gamer, but I have a pretty addictive personality. So if I stop playing games, I'll probably not being so effective in trading. So I'm just speculating on a coin based on what will Johnny do? If that Johnny will start playing that game, regardless if he's crypto native or he's not, would he like it? Is it fun? Is this big community behind it? Who promotes it? Who is backing it? What's the tokenomics? How chat looks like? And a lot of gaming coins, the charts looks absolutely atrocious. And you see them having this crazy rallies like recently Illuvium on Pair, just based on the speculation itself on the charts that bottom out, investors start coming in, and I think those will be a top performers in a bull market. I mean, TVK is gonna rebrand to Vanry, and rebranding is another great thing. I think Matic is planning to for I think Matic fired the fourth rebrand because the chart looks nice, chart looks sexy. People coming in, they don't see those previous dumps and up and downs. And if someone is new to trading or you see coin for the first time, they'll be more excited to buy something which just launched couple months ago, a couple weeks ago. So in I think 5 days, TVK will be rebranding to Vanry, and it's gonna be a great event. I'm sure they're gonna have a buck in all of the crypto and YouTube videos. People's gonna talk about it and so on. And I think TVK exchange is 1-to-1. So on Binance you can change one TVK to one Vanry. And I really wouldn't be surprised if that still have a 10x potential from where it is right now. I wouldn't say right now, but 5 to 10x potential is very realistic in the next 6 to 10 months with all the things they cooking. So I think it's gonna be similar with we're just researching with Pranay, a couple other projects I'll be posting in the next few days, GameFi projects, and also I'm planning to probably add some AI projects to our altcoin exposure. Because I think GameFi and AI will be top performing projects in the next bull. This significant returns. I mean, talking at least about 500 to 1,000%. Oh, I'm losing my voice. Who else? Opinion on Beam, why we're rebranding coins in gaming. I have no idea what's Beam. So I know that a lot of you guys love to ask, about the certain coins and the projects. I mean, like 30 coins realistically. And I'm checking if you look on the altcoins long term, I think there's like I don't know, 8 coins right now. And in on chain, probably we have like 35 across the board. And I'm tracking and looking at all of them, plus NFTs and, market too. There's absolutely no chance for me to know everything. And I also cannot be in every project. So I am accepting that I can miss out on some projects. And if you want me to look into something, you can just post that on a crypto chat, ping me, and if I don't respond, you can try to DM me and just send me links so I can look at it, make my life easier. Because if you drop the name, there's no chance I will start researching Beam right now. But if you drop me links, it will make my life easier, and I might do that. Okay. Anything else?
If anybody has a question, just raise your hand. If anybody's listening and wants to ask.
No, we good. Okay, I guess we're great. Thanks
Right.
so much, guys. I'll let Ali close it with some final Ali thoughts. Unless Enchroma have something to add, he's just happy to be a side listener. And I think he's trying to talk. Cannot hear Enchroma. Did I ruin my speaker again? You guys trying to say something? No. Oh no.
Thank you, Corgel, for all that information. It's amazing.
Oh, I know what I did. Sorry, I muted my sound because I was getting notifications. So if you guys were talking past minute or so, I did not hear you. I'm sorry.
Thank you for talking to us all on this Wednesday. It's always good to hear your thoughts and answer everybody's questions. So if nobody has any more, then I guess we can call it a wrap, and everybody have a great rest of your week and a happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate, and safe travels.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Enjoy your turkey. And send the pictures. We should make a turkey channel and everyone post the turkey pictures. And then we're gonna do Christmas channel where everyone post the Christmas decoration and pictures of food. Oh, that's actually a great idea.
It's a great idea.
Let's do that. That sounds good. And dress up pets. No worries. Have a great day, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.